And hello YouTube, this is Thomas Judge back once again with another installment of my ongoing series Till the Fabled End, in which I'm looking at every Fabled universe hardcover. We've been looking at Fairest, which were all trade paperbacks. Today we are now looking at an oversized Fables hardcover. This is the Fables Encyclopedia, and yes, it is meant to be spelt upside down there because it's a reflection in the cover. This is an oversized hardcover. So this is exactly the same size on the shelf as all the hardcovers that we've seen so far. And as you can see from the branding on the spine, it's exactly in keeping with what we're used to in terms of the kind of the bubbles and so on and so forth. So let's have a look at the cover to start with, and then we'll dive in and just have a look at what the actual encyclopedia itself is like. So here we've got rose red on the cover, on the grass, trees, background with Kara the Crow / dragon. And then if you turn it over, it's actually a reflection in the water, but the reflection is of Snow White, which is quite a cool image, and it's Snow White with a slightly different background. So it's quite a cool image, easy to kind of overlook what it is at first glance. But yeah, really like that. We then have the spine. Like I say, this is in keeping with the rest of the ones on the shelf, and it's the exact same height. And then on the back, we've just got some usual kind of blurb. Now, if you look at the inside flaps, we've got some pull quotes as standard there. And then we've got some bio details as standard there. And the inside flaps themselves, these aren't the usual kind of skyline view that we've seen from previous hardcovers you see in the earlier part of the series. It's a kind of a tan colour with a very faintly drawn, can you see it? Like a rose there, which is kind of cool. And that's the same on both sides. Let's slip off the DJ, and what we have here is not a printed cover. So all the previous oversized hardcovers we've seen have been printed glossy covers. This is not the case. It is stamped in there. So we've got blocking saying Fables, and then Encyclopedia in the stylized kind of fonts here. And then again, the spine is exactly like the dust jacket as well. So this will look quite different on your shelf to all the others. If you're keeping them raw without dust jackets, this is a very different aesthetic for the Fables Encyclopedia. Right, with that out of the way, let's crack it open. So, what is the Fables Encyclopedia? Now, if you look at this and pick it up in a shop and flick through it, it can be quite difficult to actually pass through exactly what it is. Because if you flick through it, you'll think to yourselves, oh, there's actually, like, there's comic stuff in here, there's pictures, there's stories. Maybe I need to pick this up so I can read whatever these kind of vignettes and stories are. But that actually isn't the case. Now it has a table of contents here, which is the letters A to Z, and then it's got like a breakdown of the characters in that. So for example, if we look here, D contains the characters of Daedalus, Ranger Mike Danger, Darian, Mr. Dark, you know, and so on and so forth. So it lists that for all the letters A to Z. As you go through though, it'll start off with letter A, and then it'll have an article. So here you see it says Aladdin, and then it talks a bit about Aladdin. But then the page it has here is essentially a page taken from the existing Fables stories. None of these comic pages are new. If you read Fables, you will have read these pages at some point. So that's the first important thing to keep in mind. Don't be misled into thinking these are new stories. These aren't. These are one-page excerpts taken out of previous stories. So, for example here, we're talking about Aladdin. Most of this blurb is talking about the history of Aladdin, essentially to the same extent you'd get by reading Wikipedia. And then at the end, so all this is blurb as well, and then at the end it says in Fables, and then it talks about the character of Aladdin in Fables. And what we have here is a one-page image of the first ever appearance of Aladdin. It then goes on to the next character and the next character and the next character. So here, for example, it's got Ambrose, and again it talks about Ambrose from a historical point of view, and then it talks about Ambrose or Prince Ambrose in Fables and what his role is in Fables. So here it is, in Fables the Frog King is whatever. And again, it has a one-pager just off one of the early appearances of the Frog Prince. It's important to kind of keep that in mind. Like, that's all this is. It's got Wikipedia type information, which you can get from Wikipedia, and then it's got very small blurbs explaining what the character's relevance within the Fables mythos is. And then it may have an image taken from the comics, which you've already read, just highlighting an introduction or a notable feature of that character. These red sidebars are comments from the author about a particular character. So here we've got a comment by Bill Willingham and then Mark Buckingham. And they're kind of like DVD style extra commentary type notes. That's essentially the best way to look at it. And then each character as well will also say like where this particular image came from. So for example here it says opposite here we've got Anansi, which is this character, which issue it's from, what page it's from, when it was published, that sort of thing. So that gives you an idea into kind of the structure. And as I say, these are images that would have been published elsewhere. As you go through it, what we have is also kind of cover artwork, again, from elsewhere within Fables. None of this is original. And it'll just go through each letter one by one. So we've got Baba Yaga, a page from the conflict with Baba Yaga, and a little quote from Bill Willingham about Baba Yaga there. Wikipedia type entry, and then Fables type specific narrative there. That really is the case throughout the whole thing. Is letters A all the way through to Z. I think one interesting thing worth noting here is when we get to Beast, or rather to Beauty, the narrative about Beauty is the Wikipedia style narrative, like I say, just facts about Beauty, and here she is, and here's an early conversation from her from the Fables comic. But then it also mentions in Fables, one of the things which I'm not going to spoil here, which is one of the twists about the character of Beauty that only gets revealed within Fairest. I think it's in Fairest Volume 1, possibly. So that is noted here. And if you were to read this prior to reading Fairest, it would spoil that for you. As we continue through, as you can see here, it's got nice artwork, but these are just excerpts from the ongoing series. And it's just going through letter by letter, character by character. As you can see, the little excerpts from the authors, the little DVD-style commentaries, have changed colour from letter to letter. So they were grey in the last section, and they're orange in this section. And again, these are images we've seen before from the Fables covers. Here we're on C, Bill Willingham making comments there, images about Cinderella. And again, as you can see, this is just kind of how it is structured. So it's in alphabetical order, it's alphabetical by surname. It's not exhaustive, it's got several hundred characters described in this, but at the same time it doesn't cover every single conceivable fable because that would be insane. And again, as you can see, pretty standard. Pages excerpted from the previous hardcovers, commentaries from the creators ad hoc, and then in terms of the actual encyclopedia entry, it's got stuff from the various kind of canon about various characters here, so Death, for example, and then also what that particular character is within the Fables mythos. That's all there is to say. It's pretty consistent. Is this worth buying or reading? To be honest, no. I personally wasn't too fussed about it. Now, I got this as a gift, so I'm definitely going to keep it, but I wasn't aware it existed prior to getting it as a gift. It was actually on sale somewhere, I think, so a friend of mine picked it up for me. But yeah, this is nothing really notable or new or novel here. There's nothing about any of the characters you wouldn't get from a quick Google search. None of the DVD-style extra commentary from the creators is especially exciting or interesting. None of the artwork is fresh. I mean, the artwork is good, but it's all from existing artwork we've seen. And none of these pages and stories actually form stories in and of themselves. They're literally just single-page vignettes. Love that cover. Single-page vignettes just from the existing comics. And because I've read all of Fables so far, I very much remember like these particular scenes or the particular dialogue and so on and so forth. Very consistently put together. It's a nice glossy hardcover, nice tight binding, good quality paper, good quality printing. No real qualm there. If you want it in your collection, by all means have it in your collection. But please be aware when you're picking it up that there is nothing novel or new here. None of these pages are new. Most of the text here is stuff you would just find online or from Wikipedia. There's nothing, or there's very little specific or unique to the Fables mythos here. And that takes us all the way up to the letter Z. Once you get to the end of it, it's got this nice little splash image here, which is also the dust jacket, and I think I'll probably use this for my thumbnail. And then it's just got some annotations, which are kind of like script notes and comments from the creators on some of the early issues. Kind of ad hoc. They're kind of interesting, and they're nice for the completionist, but I wouldn't worry too much about those. Okay. There we have it, the Fables Encyclopedia. I hope that was helpful for those of you who were sitting on the fence. I noticed that on YouTube there are very, very few mentions of this at all, and absolutely no video overview. So again, sort of thing it felt useful for me to do in this series. If you have been sitting on the fence about it, hopefully a little bit like the Fables covers video, this helps you make up your own mind and decide whether or not you want to have it. I'm going to keep it, but to be honest, I probably wouldn't have hunted it down myself. And there we have it, Fables Encyclopedia. Next time we're going to be looking at another series, a created series, so as opposed to a reference series like this, which is going to be Ever After. Now, Ever After is a 12-issue series. It's collected 2 trade paperbacks, but next time we're going to cover both trade paperbacks in one video, because next time I have a little surprise for you.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. As always, please follow me on Twitter at I am Thomas Judge, where I will post a daily review of whatever comics I've been reading. You can get an idea of what I'm up to on the channel. And as always, please support the channel by heading over to Amazon.com and checking out my prose novel about superheroes. It's a completely original piece of work. The first episode in it is called Arrivals, and the series as a whole is called No Gods or Kings. You can find an excerpt of that on my website, nogodsorkings.com. Until next time, everybody, stay classy.